Okay, for the second week in a row, going back 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati and then tonight, after we dropped that game to Louisville, kind of the theme's been, just play with as much energy as you possibly can muster and make sure that you get excited when good things happen, and when bad things don't go exactly the way you want them to go, you don't need to give up. So I give our coaches and players a tremendous amount of credit for buying into that, and we had a tremendous amount of excitement on the sidelines in the second half, and didn't quit. There were some things that happened offensively that we could have quit on, and we didn't. And defensively, just played tremendous. Just really played well. Held them under 300 yards, and they ran quite a bit of plays. But we really got after them defensively. But you can't win the game on one side of the ball. And us being able to go out there in the second half offensively and score a couple of touchdowns, and then special teams wise, you got to give Corey Smith a lot of credit to come in and average 48 yards a punt or whatever he did. There's 18 punts in that game, and I guess our punter was just a little bit better, which helped in some field position. So excited about the way the guys did that. Happy for the 22 seniors that have given a lot to this program, and to go out and be able to win a rival game like this will be something that they remember for a long time. Just proud of those guys. Take some questions.
Is it too simple to say that Corey Smith turned that game around?
Well, yeah, he played a big part in it. Just like I give the defense a whole bunch of credit. Jeff did a tremendous job. Shoot, all the coaches did, and they played well. But you can't win on one side. You need special teams to contribute. You need offense to contribute, which all three sides did, which is the only way you're going to win. We lost the turnover battle and still won the game. They turned it over one time. We turned it over 3 times, obviously twice on punt situations where the defense had to go right back out there after they had stopped them and then held them to field goals in the red zone. So just a tremendous job.
What was the call on Wright on that field goal? Was it low block?
I'm sorry. Yeah, on the first drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Who was it? It was George Wright. Went low. He said he slipped. It's a penalty. He went low. You can't deliberately try to take their knees out. you gotta remain relatively low, but you can't go below their waist or below their knees. And he shot down low. I guess he slipped. He said he did it. He knew he made a mistake.
And on that 4th and 6 in the fourth quarter, was field goal ever an option, or was that you were always going for it?
We talked about it, and we just felt like we needed to roll the dice at that point. We needed to score. If give Pittsburgh a lot of credit defensively. They did some good things and gave us some problems. We were down there and just felt like we should go for it. It's one of those calls where you could get questioned either way, and glad we did it and glad we converted it, obviously.
You made 2 substitutions on the offensive line in the second half. How much did that contribute to being able to run the ball a little better?
It helped. We tell everybody that they're going to be held accountable for what they do. And if they're not playing very well, we're going to replace it. And had some issues with a couple of the guys up front. And that's no different than what we did with Corey Smith after Game 3. If you're not performing, we're going to put somebody else in there. And a lot of the times, you don't know how the guy's going to respond until you put him into a game situation. First time Curtis Fights took a snap. And Quentin Spain's been playing a little bit, but he hasn't been playing very much. So just felt like it was the right thing to do. Our play calling in the second half didn't put as much pressure on the O-line, which, again, you can say what you want to, but I thought our coaches did a good job at halftime of figuring out a couple of things that we needed to do a little differently in order to move forward.
Coach, it looked like Dustin Garrison was finding some comeback lanes. Was that something that you guys seen, or was he making those moves?
That's him. It's part of his natural progression. He's got good vision. There's some guys that can't make that cut, can't see it. So, and again, I think it has a little bit more to do with us not giving up on the run. They're good against the run, and even though we'll call a couple, and if we don't get any yards on it, that doesn't mean we need to abandon it. So It's another lesson to where we need to, try to establish a run and don't give up on it if it's not quite working, because the more you hand it off, the more chance you got to be able to pop one. You got to give them the play on it, and they work.
Dana, how'd you take pressure off the offensive line?
By running the ball more.
Yeah.
Running the ball more and calling screens. We just couldn't. They were pinning their ears and just coming and getting us. We couldn't block them. So we got to do things to take some pressure off, which we ran the ball 30 times and we threw it 31 times. And of the 31 times that we threw it in the second half, we probably only threw once or twice where it was an actual drop-back pass, which is incredibly discouraging. And it means we're not doing 60% of our offense based on the fact that we couldn't block them.
Having gone through a backyard brawl now, what are your thoughts about it?
It was pretty fun. I don't have a voice. It was, fun. Great atmosphere. Gosh dang, that was fun. Our sidelines was unbelievable. And obviously we're, feeding off the crowd, and the crowd got going that second half. It was loud and rowdy and fun, and our players had a great time down there, and our players, it's more about them than it is, me or our coaches or any of that, but had a tremendous amount of time. The locker room was special, and the seniors, this is one that they'll remember. So it was a great atmosphere, great time, big win.
You alluded to the mistakes that you made, the special teams errors, the turnovers, but in spite of them, you come back and you still win this game. Has this team grown up in some ways in the past couple of weeks?
I think so, and that's one of the things that I said to them, and it's been one of the things I've been talking about to them, but figuring out who we are, which we're and again, defensively it was a dominating performance, but there's obviously been times throughout the year where they haven't been dominating, and this is just who we are, is we're a team that plays well together, and that gets excited about playing, and we got to feed off each other, and we got to figure out ways to win in the end, which we did. We had those two miscues on special teams. Other than that, thought we played pretty good on special teams. But those were two costly mistakes. But defense had enough to them to go out there and hold them to field goal.
Did you get 10 sacks and a lot of coverage sacks? Did you play that well?
We had 10 sacks.
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's a lot. I'd like to know who had all these sacks. Julian Miller had 4 sacks. I'd say that's above average. Bruce gets, he deals with a lot. He gets double teamed a lot and still creates problems. So, yeah, the D-line played awesome. The coverage, it was good coverage. We were able to get a lot of that by rushing 3. So anytime you rush 3 and you can get some pressure because of the coverage stuff, then that plays a huge part in it.
Okay, when did you guys find out what happened to Louisville today? And did you worry about how that might bleed into the first half, first quarter even?
I can't speak for our team. I'm sure they all sat. I did, but I'm sure they all were in their hotel rooms and they were watching that game. We didn't talk about it. We hadn't talked about it all week. There was nothing that we could do to help South Florida beat Louisville or what Cincinnati does or whoever. We can't control any of that. So we've been talking about it in here for 2 weeks as far as just worry about what you can control. And the only thing that we can control is doing our best to beat Pitt. So I'm sure that was in the back of everybody's minds because everybody reads y'all's work and watches TV and understands the situation. But the only thing that we can do is focus on what we do. And we got another big game here 6 nights from tonight to where, we can't control what Cincinnati does or any of that, so we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to worry about winning South Florida. It's our eighth win. We've got a chance to get to 9 next week, and we're going to play in a bowl game, and all bowl games are fun, so we'll let all that sort itself out and try to win the bowl game to get to 10. That's what our goal is, which would be a pretty good season. All right, guys, thanks.